Ho, ho, ho. That's my Santa. What do you think?
I like it. It was good.
Now go ahead, give us a little elf.
A little elf. Like, what does little elf sound like? I don't even know.
I assume like Evan Bourne in WWE. Oh, sure. Yeah, that's what I assume. Year-end edition of the Low Blow. Happy Christmas, happy holidays, Merry Christmas Eve here on the day of the recording. Happy New Year. This is the last Low Blow of the year, so we got to knock it all out, all of the celebrations. Halfway through, we're going to switch over to our New Year's attire. Baby New Year. That's what we'll do.
I could have bought a top hat and I didn't, and I should have.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, next time. There's always next year. A lot of people actually been wondering, why the hell are we recording? Why are we streaming on New Year's Eve? Well, it's not just for the live viewership.
Yeah, no.
You know, we got people that listen on demand. We got people that watch and stream on demand. Thank you for doing so. And because we had free time today.
Yeah.
Yeah. John says, Merry Christmas, dirtbags. Well, you too, you filthy animal. Wow. So we're actually going to make some bold predictions in the wrestling world and maybe related pop culture world as well. We'll do that probably more towards the second half of the show. If you are streaming us live, feel free to interact with us. Leave your comments and reactions as always. We got Slammys we're going to talk about briefly. Trust me, we're not going to take too much time on Slammys. It's not that much, I promise you. But I actually wanted to start things hopefully on an optimistic note. I mean, we get very sarcastic here on the show, obviously.
You'll say, I don't know how we do optimism. We'll see.
Yeah, so we're going to try. Michelle says, y'all too cute.
We try.
It's natural. It's something we can't really control.
No, it's so hard.
We really can't. We need one of those Billy Kay Oscar masks that she debuted on Raw this week. It was horrible and great at the same time. Now, I want to start optimistically. This year has been, how should I say, shitty. I think that's a good way. 2020 has been weird, and not just in the wrestling world, but obviously all around. What's up, Kevin? How you doing, man? Obviously, I don't need to tell anybody this, but there was highlights from 2020. Yeah. There was good things that happened, and since this is a wrestling podcast, we'll start with that. And this isn't in any order. This is just stuff that I thought of at the top of my head that I think universally people agree with, not just an opinion of, hey, I'm happy that this happened. I think the 6 items that I wrote down are stuff that 5 of the 6 people will agree with. One might be controversial.
I can't, and you're not going to tell me which one of those it is. So you'll know. I hope I figure it out. Oh, okay.
You'll know.
It'll be obvious. Okay, great.
Yeah, I think you and I are on the same page on this one, but I do think there are some individuals that may disagree. Nathan, thank you. Merry Christmas to you as well. Appreciate that. I think the first thing that came to my mind of good moments, good things that happened in 2020, Edge returned. That's true. Yes. I mean, it's all the way back in January. It's hard to remember back before the pandemic when there was people in crowds and
Can you imagine that return happening in front of no live audience? No.
I mean, he had that emotion. Like, I just watched that clip again because WWE was asking for like return of the year on their social. Yeah. And, there was great returns, seeing Roman Reigns return was great. I mean, there was solid moments, but the emotion that Edge had when he realized, I'm back after 9 years, I'm back here. He's fighting back the tears at the Rumble. The crowd's going nuts. No, you can't do this moment without that.
I was going to say, I can't think of anything that would top that at all.
No. I mean, to me, that's probably, if I had to pick one single wrestling highlight this year, Edge's return had to be it.
Yeah.
He didn't return to crickets, thank God. The crowd knew who he was, appreciated him. He appreciated being back. AJ wasn't injured that long after that initial spear. So, I mean, it was all right.
I mean, it is a shame that Edge got hurt later on. So obviously the return didn't go how they wanted, but the initial return was magic.
Exactly. And he did get 2 big matches in before the injury occurred. So, but great. After 9 years, him coming back. Nathan says, in general, the Men's Rumble, one of the best matches of the year. Yeah. I know some people would probably argue it because the one-on-one Brock Lesnar factor that he kept tossing people out and then they would come back in. But I did lead some great moments like him and Keith Lee. Like, who's this mother? You know, I mean, like, you see him mouth that in the ring. I mean, there was good moments in the Rumble for sure, but I think Edge's return was definitely up there. Another one, I think, as an internet wrestling fan, we all breathed a sigh of relief when Drew McIntyre won that world title.
Yes. No, absolutely. It was great. It was at the time, he didn't come out of nowhere, but it felt like he almost did. He went from like Dolph Ziggler lackey to, you know, he kind of did his own thing for a minute and then boom, he was up there and competing for the title. So, and then when he won it, it was just even better. It got rid of Brock and then it just kept all that going.
Back in the day, back before the facial hair, he was the chosen one. And God, he looks like such a baby. If you look back at those days, my God.
Yes.
He was a crowd favorite or internet favorite back, even back then.
Yeah.
Back in the day was a good thing.
He was a dial-up favorite back in the day.
He was, you know, big.
Yeah.
He was an AOL chosen star.
You got him free with the disc you got in the mail.
Right. So people have been clamoring for him to be a world champion for a long time. So for him to get that moment finally, and you knew he appreciated it as well. I think, you know, I think that, this is a good question here from Twitch. Since wrestling is fake, how do you really have conversations about who is better and stuff? Well, it's no different than watching, you know, superhero movies. And be like, ooh, who's going to win, Captain America or Iron Man?
Yeah, it's exactly like that, actually.
yeah, pretty much. And it's more than just who's better and who's not. But yeah, it's all right. You know, it's cool. We do what we do. Casimir says Goldberg beating the Fiend, which I don't know if everybody would agree with that. I mean, again, I tried to find ones that were more universally accepted. This, I think, is controversial, where there's going to be a lot of people that agree with Casimir that Goldberg winning was a good thing, or at least dethroning the Fiend was a good thing. Who would win, Thor or Stone Cold? Thor. I mean, are we talking like comic book Thor, like before he's Thor and he's just like that little punk kid? I mean, like, or he's the Dr. Donald Blake, you know, it's like then Stone Cold would win.
Well,
Thor, like Chris Hemsworth Thor.
Since he specifically said Thor and not Dr. Donald Blake, I'm going to have to go with Thor.
That's true.
Yeah. Plus, he has Mjolnir.
Yeah. Larry, Merry Christmas to you as well, my friend. Appreciate you watching. So, anyway, the Goldberg one is interesting. I don't know if everybody universally agrees, but hey, whatever it takes to be a fan, especially after this year, do it. Do it. That's perfectly fine. This is the controversial one. I'll just tell you that. I don't think I needed to. Jericho and MJF's song and dance.
I mean,
not everybody appreciated it like you and I did.
No, it's true. You're right.
But I appreciated the creativity and the national coverage it got.
Yes, absolutely.
And for AEW, that's exactly what they want. That's what they need, is to get more eyes on the product. When was it the New York Times listed like the 5 greatest moments in pop culture this year, and that was one of the 5.
Wow. I didn't realize that, but yeah, that's huge for them.
Yeah. I mean, so a song and dance in pro wrestling may seem odd. It's not something, obviously, and we talked about this before. We don't want to see it on a regular basis, but unless Fandango's a part of it. Fandango. Then it's okay. Dick's on my face wants to know, if Oprah teamed with Stone Cold, could they take down Thor?
I'm probably still going to go with no. No matter what she's giving out, like, you get a house. I don't think any of that is going to help Stone
I mean,
Cold.
maybe like when she gives out all the cars, and like if the car fell on Thor when he wasn't expecting it, maybe Stone Cold then swipes in with the stunner. But I don't
know. I
gotta give it to Thor. Dicks on face. Yeah. So the song and dance, that was something that I thought was at least unique. And in pro wrestling, there's not a lot of unique these days. I hate to say it, but it's true.
True. Yes.
So I like that. Good point. Merry Christmas to you too. Last ride match. A lot of people thought that was a send off that the Undertaker deserved.
Yes, I would agree with that totally. They made the best they could out of that WrestleMania, and the last ride match I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I was partial to the Bray Cena match, the House of Horrors match. I liked the Cena in the NWO shirt and hit like the old SmackDown fist, and like I liked that revisiting, even though it wasn't really a match. But regardless, I liked that. But people went nuts over the last ride with AJ Styles and Undertaker, and that led to, good or bad, a lot more cinematic matches.
No, that's true. Yeah, absolutely. That's probably the bad effect of it, is that there's been often imitators from WWE and AEW alike. But, the original is, always the best. And I don't know if it's on your list, but on that the documentary that came after, I think, is something that universally good out of this year. Yeah. The Last Ride documentary, I thought, was fantastic.
I agree. And Nathan, adding to this, should have skipped the Last Farewell at Survivor Series. Yes. I agree with that. Even the people involved in that segment in the send-off don't really know what happened and why they were there. They loved the backstage stuff. They all loved hanging out, reminiscing, and
I'm sure at some point that'll make a really good special that we'll see on the network, where all these people being interviewed and telling Taker stories and stuff. Great. You could have literally done all that and not brought anybody out in front of the camera.
Kama Mustafa better be a part of this little Raw reunion special coming up in a few weeks. If Savio Vega and those guys aren't a part of it after being a part of this, then
it was a one night stand. They didn't. They're not calling them afterwards.
All right, that's fair.
There's only 15 legends specifically booked for those things, and it's the Boogeyman
and Carlito.
And I saw Carlito's a new addition, I think.
I know. Like, that's already a highlight for 2021, in my opinion. And the year hasn't even happened.
That's an apology for firing the other Colognes.
No, they don't take that back. They just they're like, this guy was entertaining. And they probably actually thought, they're like, we brought MVP back, and he's been amazing for us since coming back. Maybe we could do the same with Carlito.
They are. This better not work, or else we're going to get Chris Masters back.
That whole era of
those guys, right?
Comes back, and Luther Reigns makes a big comeback. And
what's Elijah Burke doing here? Yeah,
the Pope. Actually, I would be okay with that one.
He's currently the NWA champion.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, if he's not the heavyweight, he's like mid-card NWA. I know he's an NWA champion right now.
Just bring him back anyway. Just pull him on back, and then we can have Sylvester Terkay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you like that?
Yeah.
I'm like scrambling my brain while we're talking about Elijah Burke. I'm like, what was his name?
Sylvester Terkay in the black tracksuit. Lasted like a week and a half.
That was good bad times. Two more items, and then we move over to the Slammy stuff.
Okay.
Roman's heel turn.
Oh yeah.
We hear on the internet been like, they need to turn Roman heel. They did, and holy crap, it was worth it.
Yeah. Do you think that this one would have been held in such high regard if he had turned heel at some other point? Like, I think on its own merit, this one is really good no matter what. But I think it's even more special because he had never really been heel until this.
By himself. I mean, with the Shield, but even then, people started to appreciate how badass they were.
Yeah. They were that cocky heel that sold merch that we always discuss. Yeah. At that point, now he's like the bad heel that enjoys being booed, I think.
Can someone make a mock-up shirt? You know, he's got the head of the table shirt.
Yeah.
Can somebody make a shirt that says only one at the table? I would wear that. I'd be the only one at the table. I mean,
only one at the table?
Head of the kids table, something like that, you know?
That'd be good. I was thinking you were going to get a head of the table talk shirt.
I mean, that makes sense too.
Yeah.
I mean, let's do all of the above. Let's market the shit out of all these.
I like the head of the kids table. That's good.
I mean, it's something somebody can relate, no matter what your background is, no matter what your situation, you can relate to one of these.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I can't wear the head of table talk shirt. Devon will be all pissed off.
We make it for him.
This is my show. I'm a Hall of Famer. I love Devon. People are gonna tattle on me. They're gonna tattle on me, get me in trouble. That's fine. He won't remember anyway. Heel Roman Reigns, to answer your question.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have been received as well, but this is such a good character.
Yeah.
And maybe it took time to think of it. Maybe this would have been the plan back then, but the timing worked.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's so good. It's so good. Cindy, Merry Christmas to you too. Appreciate you streaming. So I like that. Last one I have. And if anybody else can think of a positive from 2020, feel free to share it. AEW Impact crossover.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The companies that for the longest time would be company number 2 or lower on the list. It's hard to bridge that gap from WWE. And you look at ratings, AEW's doing all right there. But as it comes to a global worldwide force, nobody's touching WWE right now.
No, not at all.
But if you start working together, maybe you can put a dent, a chink in that armor and start, making some change. And I think this is the beginning of that change.
No, I think even if you don't take a chink of the armor, I think it's just monumental to do the cooperation on the level that it is. Like, I mean, Impact used to have that, like, hey, we bring in a New Japan guy. And, they would completely mistreat them for 6 months and then they'd lose them. And then Okada would go become a huge star in New Japan. Like, they always had that relationship, but this one, it's different. It's special. It's Omega appearing on both shows. Omega headlining a Impact Wrestling pay-per-view with his old buddies, the Good Brothers. Like, this one definitely feels different than anything we've ever seen before.
This is, I think, what Impact wanted to do years ago with Global Force Wrestling. And I think that's what Jeff Jarrett was trying to build with GFW, was trying to get these connections in so many different companies to be that change that, unfortunately, they didn't have their own product established first to get these connections.
Yes.
Impact tried. They tried to help build this up, but they didn't have the foundation. AEW had the foundation.
I mean, Impact tried it, last WrestleMania with Lucha Underground. I feel like Impact is the one who's like the most open to try to work with anyone. It feels like, anyway.
And they've been around for a while too. It's kind of crazy to think that they're going on 2 decades.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nuts that they've been around so long, but well done to them. I appreciate them still trying, and rather than just going through the motions and degrading channels every few years, they're at least trying, and I think it's a good thing. So that's my list of positives.
No, that's a good list.
Spectacular year.
Yeah.
And we got to talk about Stone Cold and Oprah versus Thor. I mean, how many other podcasts do you get to have that? Yeah,
I mean, that's the content you came for, right?
Yeah, pretty much. You're here for this content. All right, Balls. Well, I toss it over to you now, who you have to somehow sell me on the Slammys being entertaining.
Wow. I don't have anything on the Slammys. Whatever. You're killing me. I can't imagine they were entertaining.
So this time, there's a positive from 2020. They were not televised.
That is accurate. That is, instead of there being like a podium and people like announcing awards, which I feel like had there been crowds, this probably totally would have been televised. But thank you, COVID-19, for forcing the Slammys onto the internet. And I don't know, like it's still a made up award show for a
fake sport. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that the part that drives me nuts for all of it is, and we'll get to it when you announce some of the winners and we can discuss, I feel like way too many people win multiple awards. It's like you won this and this category and also this category. And you're like, really? Did you have that great of a year?
So
you're a 4-time Slammy Award winner.
What I gathered from the Slammy stuff is the basics. Because from I like the main telecast, I guess, like a main webcast.
Yeah.
That's what I chose. But apparently they kept going with social star of the year and like heel turn of the year or like whatever. Like they had a backstab of the year, whatever they called it.
Yeah.
I didn't gather all that because I thought they were done.
Because I thought they were done.
Because I already gave away enough. I mean,
right?
It's ridiculous. So superstar of the year went to Drew McIntyre. Male superstar of the year went to Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I agree with that. I don't know if I could pick a male that I could argue had a better year.
Not that hasn't been around the whole year.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Roman didn't win anything. He as a character is having fun with it, saying, I don't need a participation trophy.
Yeah.
But there are fans that are upset. This is the best Roman we've seen. He's been around for a cup of coffee. All right.
Yeah, he's only been back a couple months. I guarantee you he wins some Slammys next year.
Now, what I'm happy about, Street Profits. They won two Tag Team of the Year and Breakout Star of the Year.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where I was like, Breakout Star, they've been the Street Profits for years. And then I'm like, oh, they don't count NXT. All right.
And a year ago, these guys were just hyping up other people's matches.
Yes, they were, really.
They were just hyping up what the main event was going to be on Raw. And you're like, Paul Heyman, what are you doing?
But somehow it worked.
It worked.
Now I shouldn't question Paul Heyman anymore. Like, he just has normally good ideas 75% of the time, I feel.
The entire women's division across Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, and they gave Natty 2 Slammy Awards. Nate, not the happiest about that. That's not actually on any of mine. Again, that's upon the continuation of, too many awards. Which
at that point, did she win like has most cats? What are we like?
Crazy Cat Lady of the Year award.
Yeah, like I at that point, I'd be like, yeah, that's Natty. But anything else, probably not.
Yeah. Sasha Banks, speaking of the women, won Female Superstar of the Year.
Ooh. I don't agree with that one.
And who do you think it should be?
There's no one female star better than Asuka this year.
Well, I guess it's like our former top 50 list that we used to do, that it's not just based on in-ring stuff or accomplishments. And even if it was, I agree that it shouldn't have been Sasha. I think it should have been Bayley.
Bayley would have been a better argument than Sasha. I still think Asuka took the show on her back for a good couple months, where she was the most entertaining thing on Raw for many months in the earlier part of the year when the pandemic started. And
I was thinking about that today, earlier today before the show, about Asuka, and because that's what I do on my free time. I think about Asuka.
Just think about Asuka.
Yeah. I sit alone in a room and I think about Asuka. But anyway,
like the Empress of Mo. Yeah.
She's, and this is a weird comparison, but hear me out. She's the Undertaker of the women's division. If you look back on Undertaker's career, very rarely was he the headliner. He was a staple. He was respected by everybody, but it was always lower on the card, thanks to Stone Cold, thanks to Hulk Hogan, thanks to The Rock, thanks to John Cena, thanks to Randy Orton. Undertaker was never the headliner. He was a main eventer, but he was never the guy that was going to be on the main event of every pay-per-view over those names I just said.
I want to fight you on this, and I can't. Like,
Asuka's that person that she can carry the company. She's a main eventer. You know she's a champion, but she's not Charlotte. She's not Sasha. She's not Bayley. She's not Becky.
It's true.
And if they move in the next class of people, a Carmella, a Bianca, I mean, Asuka will still be, unfortunately, one tier below them when it comes to, hey, we're going to push these people.
I don't disagree at all.
Yeah. I don't like saying it. I don't be like, oh, screw you, Asuka. No, I love Asuka. I think she's amazing. I think she deserves every bit of praise that she gets. But she's she's the workhorse, but she's not the star.
Do you think it's because her English still isn't very good? If she spoke better English, do you think it would be higher up? Because I mean, it's hard to say she's low on the card because she's a current double champion.
No, I'm not saying she's low on the card. But
I understand what you're saying, but I'm trying to we're not insulting where she is or even what they think of her. It's just, perception. Like you said, she's not the name on the marquee that sells the division, even as champion.
Right. Yeah. She's made herself on WWE on the main roster, because in NXT she was a badass, undefeated badass. Yeah. Comes up to the main roster, you can tell they don't know what to do with her. She still remains undefeated for a bit, loses to Charlotte, and then completely loses her way for the longest of time. And this year, with people being unable to travel, going to and from, and all of this, she had a chance to step up when others could not step in.
Yes.
And I think her charisma and her ability to carry the company, carry the division on her back, gave her this spot. But you look at her character, I don't know what Asuka's about.
No, there's no real motivation.
But Charlotte, know Becky, Bayley and Sasha.
Yep.
You even know, you could argue, what Carmella is looking to get right now. You look what Nia Jax is getting. I'm like, you see what some of these people are doing. Asuka is amazing, but I have no idea what her character wants.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong.
Yeah. Dan, what's going on? How you doing? Hey. So that's why I would probably give the Superstar Year award to Bayley above Asuka, not because of my personal choice, but because WWE marketing.
Okay. No, but we agree, not Sasha.
Although Sasha has had an amazing year too. I mean, a lot of women have had a great year this year. Really stepped it up when WWE needed people to step up. Return of the Year went to Edge, that we already talked about.
Yeah, that makes sense completely.
So good, such a great moment. Yeah. The Undertaker took home 3 Slammys. Network Documentary of the Year, Moment of the Year for his farewell at Survivor Series, and Match of the Year for the Boneyard with AJ Styles.
Okay.
But Moment of the Year, his farewell Survivor Series.
That's the problem, is I could even give him Moment of the Year, just not that moment of this year. Sure, give it to Taker retiring. You could have made Moment of the Year the Boneyard match, and then or the moment is him riding off after the Boneyard match.
Yeah.
You didn't have it. His moment shouldn't have been the minute and a half he was in the ring at Survivor Series. That wasn't a great moment.
It was a lackluster moment, unfortunately. We hate to say that because we wanted him to obviously have this huge, appropriate send-off.
Yeah.
So I there's got to be other moments of the year, but I think they're trying to spread some love a little bit. They realize they probably can't give Undertaker any more Slammys, at least easily after this year.
Oh, after this year. Okay, I was going to say, they're trying to spread love by giving the Undertaker 3 Slammys.
No, but I mean, Edge, Moment of the Year, Edge's return could have been it, or it could have been a championship win.
That's true.
That's what I'm thinking. Could have been moments of the year. A guy being set on fire, perhaps. I don't know.
That's true. Yeah, if there was no shocking moment of the year, it's that.
Well, that would obviously be Elias electrocuting himself. obviously.
Only if he got Tourette's afterwards.
Which he didn't.
I know. Apparently, that's not a thing.
That's odd. Because I remember back in the day, somebody else did that. And
I feel like everything I learned from Gold Dust was a lie.
are you implying that Gold Dust is a liar?
Maybe.
You son of a bitch. The Hurt Business and Lacey Evans tied for Trash Talker of the Year.
No. Why? I'm reasonably sure Lacey Evans was off TV half of the year. Like, no.
She never drops character on social, which I give her a lot of credit.
Yeah.
I love following her social because she trashes everybody and everything.
Okay. But
even the Hurt Business on this one, like, I'm glad that they're getting recognition. They got a lot of gold right now. It's like, it's cool seeing the Hurt Business get some love.
Yeah.
I'd have given this to like the Street Profits as well or something. I
don't know.
Bailey had a good year, really taunting people.
I was gonna say Bailey might have been my pick for a Trash Talker. If it's not MVP, the Hurt Business, yeah, I would probably say Bailey.
Yeah, I mean, he agrees. Bailey talks so much legit trash. It was amazing. Hell, she started trashing Devon, not even realizing I had Devon on standby, so I got to surprise her on Table Talk with that.
I think it probably should have been The Undertaker, but
The Undertaker should have won this one, Trash Talker of the Year.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah.
Why not? Yeah. If it's Farewell's Moment of the Year, why not?
Yeah.
Referee of the Year, which I did not know was a thing, went to Charles Robinson.
Yeah, I feel like that's the only referee I can name.
On that company.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In that company, yeah. Right now.
I mean, I recognize other ones.
Sure.
Yeah. And then Celebrity Appearance of the Year went to Rob Gronkowski. Your reaction says it all, my friend.
Awkward signing, then him going back to football and ruining all plans you made also goes to Rob Gronkowski.
Well, he also didn't really have too many celebrity appearances in general.
That's true.
That was either Rob Gronkowski or Poppy.
Or Mayor Kane.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, he would work.
Whichever ESPN guy won the 24/7 title from R-Truth. There really aren't that many at all this year.
Damn COVID.
Yeah, right.
Thank you, COVID. Although, great question here. How does Gronk win over Pat McAfee?
Because they don't acknowledge NXT.
There's that. Yeah. There is that. NXT kind of did their own awards, though, right?
Yes, they did. I have some of them up over here, and they have a lot of people to vote. Like, this is probably the downside I feel of the NXT. Is I'll list some of these, but there's like a laundry list of people you can pick to vote for these. And these have not announced winners to my knowledge yet. They're still voting as of right now. So this is more like who you would pick as opposed to who won. Breakout Star of the Year. It's your nominees are Pat McAfee, Damian Priest, Shotzi Blackheart, Cameron Grimes, Dexter Lumis, Thatcher, Gonzalez, Santos Escobar, and Dragunov from NXT UK.
That is a good list.
It is a good list. That's the problem. I mean,
I'm gonna pick Shotzi.
See, to me, this is where Pat McAfee gets it, but Shotzi really probably deserves it.
Yeah, I'm going to give it to Shotzi, although I want to give runner-up love to my boy, Cameron Grimes.
I knew you would.
Yeah.
I mean, Santos Escobar has had a great year. There's been a lot of really good ones.
Dexter Lumis. I mean, there really has been. That is a good list.
It is.
Timothy Thatcher.
Yep. Rivalry of the Year. Cole McAfee. Candice LeRae. Io Shirai. Damian Priest versus Johnny Gargano, which I don't think was long enough yet to be a runner-up. Loomis, Cameron Grimes. Shotzi Blackheart versus Robert Stone. Rhea Ripley, Raquel Gonzalez. Walter versus Dragunov. Katie Lee Ray versus Piper Niven. I appreciate the fact they're including NXT UK stuff in here, even though I'm not as familiar with it as I should be. I feel like some of these are recent, while maybe that doesn't it doesn't disqualify them, but I think it's interesting to call something a rivalry of the year that's only been happening for a month or two.
What was the first one that you listed? Cole and McAfee.
Yes,
I probably got to give it to that one.
That would be my. I would think so. That or Candice LeRae, Io Shirai, I feel is gone.
And even then, like that one still doesn't really honestly convince me. You could tell lack of travel really hurt the NXT product this year and some of their plans.
Yeah,
I'm sure Velveteen Dream getting himself into some drama off air probably did not help their plans either. And Keith Lee being called up to the main roster probably did not help plans either.
No.
There's a theme here.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say it's Cole and McAfee.
I agree with you.
How real that first interview felt.
Oh yeah.
On McAfee's show, and then from there it spiraled. We got a War Games match out of it. I'm giving that one.
No, I agree totally. I think out of that, where is Gargano versus Wheels? Like that, I think would have been a good one.
Yeah.
No, but like Shotzi Blackheart versus the Robert Stone brand. Like, I enjoyed it. I don't think it's not of the year.
Yeah.
Tag team of the year, Undisputed Era, Lorcan and Danny Burch, Breezango, Imperium, Gallus, and Legado del Fantasma.
If it was me, I'd give it to Imperium.
To me, probably it's Imperium.
I mean, Breezango getting some love this year was a great touch. Those guys finally getting some gold down there. Undisputed Era hasn't been a unified group that long thanks to injury this year.
Yeah. Del Fantasma probably has an argument for this.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. And obviously, Oni and Burch now have the tag belts, but I still think that's an Imperium victory.
Male competitor, not Drew McIntyre. Finn Balor.
Male competitor. U.S. Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, boxes.com. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. You made it to a fourth one. I was like, I don't know.
I had to pull that one out of my ass, though.
Yeah. I was like, in my head, I'm going, is boxes.com a thing?
It is a thing, but I don't think they really ship.
Oh, okay.
They just get your boxes.
Yeah. Stamps.com. Finn Balor, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Keith Lee, Walter, and Tommaso Ciampa. I think it has to
stand out this year in NXT.
I think it has to be. I hate going back to the Undisputed Era Pat McAfee thing, but I think Adam Cole's been great. Finn Balor coming back has been, a breath of fresh air for him. But is he competitor of the year? Was
Walter on that list?
Yes, Walter's on the
list. I'm going to give it to Walter only because he's been consistent over there.
That's true.
Yeah.
Keith Lee, I think, would be great, except for, we lost him at some point.
Yeah, he left. Yeah, like, I have 2 belts. Oh, hey, main roster.
Right.
Yeah.
Female competitor of the year, Rhea Ripley, Io Shirai, Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Katie Lee Ray, and Tegan Knox.
I think a lot of them have arguments.
I do.
I would give it to Io.
Yes, I would too.
But I think Rhea has a really good chance of walking away with that victory.
I think so. Being the first NXT champion to defend her belt at WrestleMania.
And
I think that's a huge deal.
And very consistent, has had a lot of great feuds and matches. I still give it to Io, but barely.
Yeah. Event of the year. This is going to force you to try to remember what happened at these.
Takeover 2, Takeover 3, Takeover 4.
Basically, yes. Takeover Blackpool 2, Takeover Portland, Takeover In Your House, Great American Bash, Takeover 30, Takeover 31, Halloween Havoc, and Takeover War Games. Which I feel like that's every takeover that year happened.
I'm going to say War Games wins because that's one I remember. I would say Halloween Havoc because they brought that back after decades gone. That was my event, but I'm going to say War Games.
I was going to say Halloween Havoc because I feel like it was the best done. Like the overall presentation was fantastic.
Yeah, I'd say memorable for sure.
Yeah. Future Star.
Ooh.
Austin Theory, Jake Atlas, Leon Ruff, Casey Catanzaro, Caden Carter, Indy Hartwell, Zay Lee, A-Kid. How the hell do you say that name? Aoff Valkyrie, and Pretty Deadly.
I'm going to say Jake Atlas. Because I can say that name.
Yeah. I think you have to go with one of one of Johnny Gargano's group. So it's either going to be Austin Theory or Indy Hartwell.
Oh, if we're restricting Indy Hartwell.
You just don't want to give to Austin Theory.
I don't think they want to give it to Austin Theory.
That's
people should realize he took some time off of TV. He was on the main roster, then he just disappeared, and then all of a sudden he showed up not too long ago on NXT. Yep. The gap was not due to injury.
No.
So I don't think WWE is going to want to give him this award either.
No, you're not wrong. I like Sidebar. I like Indy Hartwell.
Sidebar, is that a Retribution guy?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
It is.
All right.
I like Indy Hartwell being referred to as indie wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I like that's a nice callback to number one, the Johnny wrestling thing, but also, indie wrestling. Now this is the one that's going to take me, I feel like, forever to read the nominees. Match of the year. Fatal 4-Way Iron Man. That was Balor, Ciampa, Cole, and Gargano.
Okay.
Adam Cole versus Finn Balor. Gargano, Ciampa, one final beat. I think that was the cinematic.
Yeah.
Balor versus Kyle O'Reilly. Keith Lee versus Adam Cole, Great American Bash. The ladder match for the North American Championship from TakeOver 30. Io Shirai, Candice LeRae from Halloween Havoc. Dragunov and Walter from NXT UK. The Men's War Games. The Women's War Games. Rhea Ripley versus Io Shirai versus Charlotte. TakeOver in Your House. Gallus versus Imperium versus Grizzled Young Veterans versus Andrews and Webster. Ladder match from TakeOver Blackpool 2. By now, you've forgotten all the ones I've listed before. Tyler Bate, Jordan Devlin. Bronson Reed versus Roderick Strong and Johnny Gargano. Matt Riddle versus Timothy Thatcher. And at this point, everyone has completely forgotten that Matt Riddle was in NXT most of the year.
That was a doozy of a list. Jesus.
Right? Right?
Had I known there was going to be such a long list, I would have stopped you after the very first one. The Iron Man match. 4 people. NXT had never done it. To me, that was good. The false finishes. To me, that's NXT's match of the year. There's a lot of great ones on that list. A lot of great ones I can't remember that you just said. But that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's some, just wrestling-wise, the Dragunov Walter was fantastic.
Yeah.
Tyler Bate, Jordan Devlin was great. There's been Balor O'Reilly. They both fought so hard they injured each other. So many great matches. Gargano Ciampa, one final beat. I think there's a lot can be said, but why not go with yes, it ended up with 2 winners out of that match. So maybe it didn't end in the most spectacular fashion, but you can't argue against it, I don't think.
I mean, it's WWE. They do that a lot.
Yeah, that is a fact.
They do that a lot.
That's all I got for NXT's end of the year awards.
All right. Well, let's hope we find out. Are they going to do that on the New Year's show or that New Year's Evil?
Winners will be revealed during the final NXT episode of 2020.
Okay, so next week. Cool.
Yeah.
So we'll get that posted on the Wrestling Audio socials. So we'll see how well we did with our guesses. Yours, very much welcome, of course. Last stretch of the show, final low blow of 2020. Because next week we'll be recording on New Year's Eve, and we'd like to think we'll actually have plans and be social next week on this day. It won't happen for me, and maybe it will for him. For that guy there, but not me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that guy. Yeah. So bold predictions for 2021. something we just kind of made for NXT, but now bolder. So we open up this question on our Facebook at Wrestling Audio and asking for your bold prediction. I'll start with AC's, and I'm sorry I'm not pulling this up, visually on the show, but AC says that Devon Dudley's coming out of retirement. That's his bold prediction.
Does Devon know?
Well, Devon probably knows in the back of his head.
Oh,
he probably knows he's coming back. I mean, you know me. If you watch Table Talk, you know I don't even consider him retired. So I love that bold prediction from AC. What else we got here? Jeff going a little bit more of a sarcastic, not sarcastic route by saying Nia Jax injures 2 people within a span of 4 weeks.
Are we sure that didn't happen in 2020?
Yeah. A lot of people saying maybe ratings go up on Raw, crowds return.
I mean, crowds would be great. Ratings going up, that would be shocking.
Yeah. That means they're doing something right. AEW, Mike says AEW Dynamite breaks the 1 million viewer mark.
That would be awesome. Yeah. I mean, it would also mean that they're doing something right and they've figured something out.
Mm-hmm. So some of these things a little bit more safer, more expected, or get sarcastic in some cases. So when I would start getting into the more bold categories, Seth says Nia Jax wins a men's championship. Following the line of China and Beth Phoenix.
Yeah. I mean, it would be shocking. It would be amazing. I don't think it'll happen, but it would be crazy if it did.
Yeah. This is a bold prediction.
I know. It is a bold prediction. I agree with that totally.
Brian says Adam Cole wins the WWE championship. Considering he's in NXT right now, not in a spot to compete against it, then that is a bold pick.
No, that's very bold. And deserving if it happens.
Jeff says maybe Edge returns at the Royal Rumble.
I mean, maybe.
It's happened before. Casimir says Legends Night brings the ratings up after New Year's. You never know. All it takes is one good angle and things can turn around.
No, you're right. And it is one of those things where you wonder, you know what, though? Like, if Legends Night brings the ratings back, it almost sends a bad sign to WWE. Like, oh, man, we need more of this. And I'm sure there are fans out there. Like, I'm sure there are fans out there that are like, yes, we do want more Legends. I don't know if that's such a broad generalization across the board of wrestling fans, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, if a bunch of Legends start showing up, I already forget Raw's on half the time. I'm definitely not going to remember if Carlito keeps showing up.
You son of a bitch. That's what I'm most excited. Okay, that's the second thing I'm most excited about. Obviously, Boogeyman making an appearance is going to win every time for this guy right here.
Yeah.
Leonard says Kenny Omega shows up on NXT and confronts Finn Balor.
Wow.
Imagine NXT strikes a deal and a partnership with other companies, but the main roster doesn't.
That would be like,
dude, you're losing your mind, old man. I'm just going to go ahead and work with these guys.
That's what Triple H would be like. Do you not remember us breaking off and becoming separate companies? Because that happened. You
don't let us in on your pay-per-views anymore. You don't let us in your draft.
No, according to this lawyer, we thought we were disowned. So, yeah.
Shane McMahon owns us now. So,
right. From Daytona.
So that one, that would be pretty cool. Nathan said Cena returns, wins the title, officially surpassing Flair for most all time.
That would be shocking. More importantly, what does Cena's hair look like when he returns?
I hope like AJ mom hair.
Right?
Yeah. That's the only way we can make fun of Cena even more.
Yeah. I don't know.
That one, I don't know if it's necessarily bold because I'm sure that's something they talk about a lot.
I mean, depending on how Suicide Squad does and how it show on HBO Max does.
Or how bad ratings get. Let's just be honest.
I was going to say, because it's really both those. It's if the movies do really well, they'd want Cena to help promote, and he comes back and wins a title and gets a lot of press coverage.
Mhm.
If the movies do really bad, Cena's going to need money, so he's going to come back and win a championship.
Right. Yeah, Cena is probably just some broke ass bitch. Doesn't know how to save his money. Yeah,
No.
obviously Cena needs us.
Obviously.
He needs us fans.
He does, totally. To change shirts every month so that people keep buying it.
This one adds to it by saying Cena turns heel in his return.
That would be amazing.
Cena surpassing Ric Flair is going to get a lot of longtime fans upset.
I want him to come back as like movie star Rock that came back in like the black vest.
Yeah.
And like the glasses. Like that's how I want Cena to come back and be like, I'm a star now, you little people.
Yeah.
Everyone.
I made you. I made all of you.
Yeah, I made.
And you still need me.
Yep. Hustle, loyal to me, and respect me. Like, respect my hustle. Go see my movie.
That would be outstanding if he did turn heel, if he returns. I do think we do see Cena wrestle this year in 2021. Work an angle, at least, if not for the championship, just because WWE is going to be like, hey, we need your help, man.
I think with a lot of guys like Cena and stuff, it just comes down to what these movie companies will let them do.
Yeah.
What their insurance companies for these movie companies will let them do.
Mm-hmm.
Basically.
Yeah, but he has been very vocal about wanting to come back and still working part-time. WWE, should they give him that belt to surpass Ric Flair? They obviously have no issues with part-time champions.
Not at all.
So, that's right there. I have a couple bold predictions on my end that I wrote down.
Okay.
And this one may be the boldest of them all. In 2021, Vince hands over creative control.
Is this how we get Kenny Omega facing Finn Balor in NXT?
Maybe. At some point, I mean, Vince is a genetic freak. We know that.
Yep.
But at some point, time will catch up. Age will catch up. Stress, something will catch up. There's a lot of pressure right now to perform. And his company's done great with the Thunderdome and everything, really stepping up and finding ways around the pandemic to at least keep us interacting.
No, I agree with that.
Ratings aren't there. We all know that. The social's there. Like everything next generation is there, but the product in the ring, something's not clicking.
No, I agree with that. I feel like to either play off your bold prediction or maybe skirt around it, there is something happens backstage, whether Vince himself steps down or he clears out a lot of the old guard producers and brings in newer, maybe current thinking, less talking head Bruce Pritchard types. And whether it's Vince, and I do feel like it could be Vince, it very much could. I mean, at some point, USA and Fox are going, we're paying for this. You need to make a call to have something happen. And whether he realizes it's him and he moves down or something happens. But I could see him giving up some sort of creative control for sure.
Yeah, I don't see him leaving WWE. That's not the prediction. It's not he's going to resign his post, but rather just realizes maybe life on the road doesn't work out anymore, or he realizes this is his vision. This is his child. This is his baby, and things aren't going the way that they once were. Maybe, whatever causes this, hopefully it's for the right reasons and not because of a medical emergency or something like that.
Obviously,
But that's my bold prediction there. Kyle, Merry Christmas to you too.
Yeah.
From your buddy, more like your brother you never knew you had. Good. I have two siblings, and I've always wanted a brother. Always wanted one.
I'm sure your two brothers are not watching.
They're not watching this.
Yeah, right.
Well, way to support family.
Right.
This is why I'm at the kids' table.
Right.
Yeah.
I think one of my bold predictions is I think we lose two, maybe not headliners, but we lose two major stars to AEW. WWE does, not we. Makes it sound like I'm losing them and they're dying. WWE loses two major names to
Saudi
AEW.
losing two major stars to AEW this year: Devon and Lindsay. Greg, who are we talking? Dave?
No, most of it's you and me. We're going to AEW.
That would be amazing.
That would be.
I'd be fine with that. AEW.
Yeah.
Hello.
So.
What's up, girl? Balls pose. All right. Yeah.
Oh. No, yeah. I mean, and I don't know if it'll be top level, but I feel like there'll be names. Like, yes, we lost the Revival. They let their contract ride out and they went over.
Right.
But I feel like it'll be someone higher up than that.
Okay.
That I dare say like a Kevin Owens, someone who is main event, but not always the name on the marquee, like we were talking about earlier. I could see someone like an Owens jumping over to go hang out with his buddies.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
I'm gonna raise you one and say that AEW loses a main eventer to WWE.
Ooh.
Yeah, a main eventer. Maybe it's Omega in NXT. Maybe it's a Hangman. You know, somebody that. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are trying to get TV time over at AEW that can't, or they don't get the proper amount of time. And I could see them going somewhere else. You know?
I don't see it being an Omega, just simply because he has that executive vice president title.
Maybe they gotta move him over. He'll replace Vince.
That's bold.
Thank you. That's what we're talking. Bold predictions.
Super bold. Yeah. I mean, I could see someone being. They have recently been hiring. It feels like 47 different tag teams. I definitely feel like there's someone higher up from AEW is going to go. I can get a better deal somewhere else and bounce totally.
Yeah, maybe I say main event, but maybe it's like Rio, or maybe it's somebody in the women's division that isn't necessarily that division's not the most respected in pro wrestling, the women's division, AEW, but maybe the stars feel they're not getting the right respect they deserve, and maybe Riho moves over, or I don't know.
I could see someone like Brian Cage, someone who was a world champion in Impact Wrestling. Dude's very talented, Lucha Underground, but he's in this mid-card thing with the FTW thing against Cody Rhodes and his crew.
Yeah.
I think at some point he's going to go, I should be higher up the card, and maybe he bounces. I don't know. I could see someone like that, though. Totally.
And the last one that I got before I wrap up my thing would be Miz. Yeah. I think he returns and becomes a world champion again. Return to the world championship.
Oh, I was like, did he leave and I not recognize it?
No, actually, this week on Raw was outstanding. His passion plea for 10 years ago headlining WrestleMania and wanting to claw and scrape to get there. And here we go. Here's a bold prediction: Moxley going back to WWE.
That would be very bold. That
would be something else. But I think Miz, after a decade removed from his last world championship, is going to climb back on top. And then probably lose to Cena. But
I wonder what the record is in between world title reigns. What besides maybe someone like a Goldberg, who has left the company for an extended period of time and come back. What is the record for still being in the company, but winning a world title, maintaining in the company, and then winning it again 10 years later? I mean, that to me, that's unheard of. I mean, maybe someone watching or listening can mention someone else that I'm forgetting, but I can't think.
And I don't know how many years it was and how you define world championships. Kane, when Kane won the WWF World Championship for 24 hours back in the Attitude Era, and then finally winning was it the ECW or the World after cashing in Money in the Bank? Because he cashed it on the same pay-per-view.
Yeah, I think it was World. I don't think it was ECW.
I think I want to say it was ECW though. He cashed in on Chavo.
I thought he cashed in on Rey Mysterio, but
maybe
and that's just either one of us is confusing luchadors at that point.
Who did Kane cash in Money in the Bank against?
This didn't work last time. My bold prediction: him trying to use his phone to look something up actually
It
works.
was Rey Mysterio. See, okay, but you're wrong because you just said bold prediction. Yeah. So the World Heavyweight Championship, Rey Mysterio had defeated Jack Swagger to retain. So
Nice.
maybe he just wrestled Chavo earlier in the night. It was like down to him and Chavo in the ECW in the battle. I don't know, but
I don't know.
So that was in 2010.
Okay.
And his world title happened 98, 99.
Yeah.
His WWF title. So I mean that's guy that's up there.
Yeah, that's definitely one right there.
Yeah.
For sure.
You know, Nathan talks about HBK, but does it count if he leaves?
That's what I was trying. I mean, technically from what I said.
Smile.
Yeah, he lost his smile and left. Into what I was saying was, maintaining and still being in the company.
Mm-hmm.
So like Kane totally, HBK totally left.
Yeah. So I don't know. Kane and Miz are up there. So we'll see. I mean, sure.
Technically, the Miz hasn't won anything yet, so we can't count it.
Yeah. So that's all I got in my bold predictions. Anything else on your end?
Oh man, I think I was gonna say a surprise return, but that's not bold anymore. Like there's always a surprise return.
No,
and it's always
CM Punk to WWE.
Yeah, I was gonna say, something with CM Punk, but I don't even know if that. Yes, it would be surprising, but I don't know if it would be as surprising maybe as we thought because it keeps getting talked about.
Yeah.
I'd be more like AJ Lee wrestles again. Like to me, that would be more surprising at this point in time than CM Punk wrestling again.
Yeah. I get that. I understand that. Again, if you're watching this on demand after the fact, sorry we couldn't include your selection, but you are very welcome invited to list yours at Wrestling Audio on the socials. Just reply straight to wherever you're streaming this video and make your bold predictions because there's got to be something that we forgot about, something that we didn't talk about, something that could happen. Impact Wrestling finally ends.
I have a bold prediction real quick. I think.
Okay.
Yeah. Last minute bold prediction. NXT India does better than NXT UK.
Ooh. Them are fighting words.
Yeah.
The Brits are not going to like that, buddy.
They're not. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah. Well, that's why Dave's jumping to AEW and we're staying here. That's what happens. Sincerely, thank you guys for supporting Wrestling Audio. It has been a wild year for us on and off the stream.
Yes.
We started video this year.
We did.
We're Wrestling Audio. We're not WrestlingVideo.com.
No.
That domain is too expensive.
I was going to say, because someone owns that domain.
We've looked at it, but we can't own it. So we started video. We've adjusted to it little by little. We're actually starting to not completely suck at it. So thank you for supporting us. We really appreciate it. What are you pointing at me for, you jerk?
No, I said I still can't point you're like, we still kind of good at it. I'm like, I can't point the right way.
Kind of good.
Kind of good.
We're trying. Yeah. Yeah. So as he says, see you next year, everybody. Thanks for supporting WrestlingAudio.com.